what began as a one-year temporary appointment ended up being the last 7.5 years that I was at Parsons. And it was 4 years into my term as chair that the Project Runway producers contacted me looking for a consultant. And my role on the show at that time was in no one's vocabulary. It just didn't exist. And I even resisted having this meeting with the producers. I thought, fashion reality, this industry has enough challenges without that. But we all know that I did, and I was their consultant for, in fact, I got very excited during the meeting. I thought, oh, this sounds interesting. They want real fashion designers. This could be, we could tell the story, what happens behind the scenes. This could be really great TV. And then my excitement began to wane because I didn't hear from them. And I thought, oh, they've gone with someone else, whatever. And then they eventually came to me. We worked together for about 8 months. And it was the week before the designers were set to arrive in New York when they asked me whether I would be willing to be a mentor to them in the workroom. And no one ever said this to me, but I know what the catalyst was. The producers were worried that the designers would go into the workroom and they wouldn't talk. They'd just work. And that would be just a lot of dead space. And by sending me in, just to probe and to query, they know that they would at least have some dialogue. At the same time, the whole time we were taping that first season, and who dreamed there'd be a second one, let alone a 10th, the whole time that we were taping, I never dreamed I'd end up on the cut of the show. I was so aware of the camera placement, I thought, well, as long as the producers have the designers responding to me, no one needs to see me, no one needs to hear my voice. So it serves to underscore that you never know where life's serendipitous path is going to take you. But it does underscore that you need to be prepared for opportunities. You need to nurture opportunities that present themselves or that you feel are there percolating. And you need to do whatever you do at 150% or more. You have to demonstrate a powerful, demanding work ethic. The execution of the work that you do and perform has to be excellent, and it's important to navigate the world and to interact with your peers, your colleagues, your bosses with a tremendous amount of respect. I'm always talking about how important qualities of character are. They are. They're really critically important, and if you ever think that nice guys finish last, well, I'm not finished, but I'm not last yet. So when I think of myself as a nice guy, and one who has a lot of respect for people. So you can succeed with good qualities of character. In fact, I think today they are so prized that people begin to pay attention to you because of them. I would say to my students at the beginning of each semester of classes, I want you to know something about me. In my world, the squeaky wheel does not get greased, so don't squeak.
Thank you, Tim. So he just mentioned a couple of very good points, one of which is how meandering his path was. And for those of you who were pushed around by either myself or another Cooper Hewitt staff member to various tables to meet with designers that you may have never heard of or to meet with a design industry that you may not be interested in, the reason for that is because you never know where your path will take you. And it's so important for you to understand the different art and design pathways that do exist because they're so intertwined.
Exactly.
And on that note, your background over at Parsons with the admissions office and as an educator, tell us a little bit about what it takes to get into those design schools in the first place.
Well, another frequent question this afternoon was, where should I go to design school or what should I look for? Any school is only as good as it suits your needs, and your needs may change and evolve, but you have to freeze frame them for a moment when you're making your college application decisions. It's very important. You should visit the schools that you're interested in attending and see. Well, project yourself into the environment and see whether you can see yourself being a successful student there. I won't even say happy. I don't want you to be unhappy, but successful. If you can do good work, forget about a school's reputation, forget about what friends say about a particular place. It's all about you and your experience and getting the right work out of it. I would say I would disarm parents, actually, of students who are looking at Parsons as an option when the parents would ask me, why should my son or why should my daughter come here? And I would say, to be perfectly honest, I'm not certain that they should. No school is right for everyone. And it's, as I said, it's only as good as it suits your needs. You do, though, need to come to terms with what you believe those needs are. And there are some pronounced differences between professional conservatory-like schools and colleges and universities that have design and art departments. However, I believe when you're in the design department or art department of a college or university, it feels very much the same as when you're in a conservatory. It just depends upon what options you want, what kind of environment you want to be in, what kind of lifestyle you want as a student, and where you want to be. There's nothing better or worse about any of these decisions. It all just pertains to you. Am I being too evasive here about this?
No, we want to hear the truth.
And in terms of preparation, you need to go online and look at what each school you're interested in requires. Prepare for that as far in advance as you can, or begin to prepare for it so it doesn't come as a big surprise. But from my experiences sitting on the admissions committee at Parsons, it was all about getting to know you. Who are you? And what will you, first of all, contribute to the school? And secondly, what are you going to contribute to the world afterwards? It sounds grand. It is grand. And it's also about how have you, my role on the admissions committee was I was the one who always wanted to contextualize everything. Let's examine the circumstances under which this individual grew and developed, and examine correspondingly what the individual did with that experience and those resources made available to him or her. Frequently, I would have a portfolio thrust in front of me, or two portfolios, and I'd be asked which one is better. And I would always answer, I can't tell you unless I know the characteristics of each of these individuals and their background. I don't know. I mean, one may come from a magnet high school for the arts, and one may be homeschooled in Wyoming. I need to know the particulars here. Otherwise, who can tell?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So tell us a little bit about what advice you could give these students who are aspiring to go to art and design school and are going into very cutthroat professions. It's very competitive out there, and it could be very disheartening. What advice could you give to that?
Well, if you're really intent upon this study as a student at the higher education level, because you're intent upon an art or design profession, well, you have to be so passionately in love with this that you can't imagine doing anything else. As Monica said, these fields are tremendously competitive. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. They can be very cutthroat, and why not? When it's competitive, the fewer people there are, the fewer people there are to compete with. And you need to be like a weeble. If you start to fall over, you're going to bounce right back up, because if you're going to stay down, don't even consider going into this industry. There's no one aspect of any of these industries, or there's no one industry among them that's easier or harder than the other. They're all tremendously difficult. I had a couple of students ask me, well, is there anything easier than, any of the design disciplines easier than fashion? I said, no, they're all incredibly, incredibly demanding. And I will say again, I have a lot of refrains. You have to love, love, love this. But I also have to say, what greater opportunity and what greater gift, in a manner of speaking, than to be in one of these industries? As artists and designers, and I'm going to put particular emphasis on designers, you help change the world. You help make it a better place. You are, and I say this grandly also because it is grand, you're a barometric gauge of your society and culture, because design work, good design work, happens in a context that's societal, cultural, historic, economic, political. It's why design is constantly in motion, constantly changes. If we examine just fashion, I say this about the contextual aspect of fashion. There's a difference between fashion and clothes. Clothes don't have to change. Fashion, by definition, does. So it's a very tall order being in any of these disciplines. You are a barometric gauge of your society and culture. So if you have families who are kind of, oh, really? Art, design? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't, how serious and important are these fields? They make or break our world, they make it a more beautiful place, and a barometric gauge of your society and culture, how important is that? It doesn't get any more important for me.
Absolutely. So before we run out of time, I want to open the mic up to questions from some of the teens that haven't had a chance to meet with you one-on-one. So now's your chance. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'd love to hear from you. Don't be shy.
I can't believe there's shyness out there. There wasn't shyness over here earlier.
All right, I see a young lady right here, Mariana. She's going to bring over a mic. If you can just talk into it.
Hi, is it on?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, I'm Isabel.
Hi, Isabel.
I was wondering if you're like undecided, what would you suggest?
That is a very good question. I like students who are undecided, to be perfectly honest. I feel you're more inclined to be like a sponge and soak up everything around you. If you're thinking about a conservatory-like professional art and design college, there are many that don't allow you to go directly into a major. You have to go into a foundation year, and it gives you the opportunity to have a whole year of studies that expose you to other disciplines within the school and learn more about them and make that decision. If you're flirting with a couple of ideas, I also recommend summer programs at schools where you get a taste of what those disciplines are like. And I have to also say, when you have a good quality design education, and I'll throw art education into this as well, based on my own experiences, you can really, I mean, at the core of it is problem solving. Materials, resources, conceptualization, problem solving, critical analysis of work as you're creating it and after you've made it. It's so finely hones your problem-solving abilities and your critical analytical abilities that I really believe you can do almost anything. Almost anything. Donna Caron said to me once, owing to the quality of my design education, she said, I can design anything. And she's right, she can.
Thank you.
So good luck.
Anybody else? I saw some hands over in the corner back there. The girl with the striped shirt.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, hi. My name is Gisaura, and I'm a senior in high school, and I'm in the midst of applying to different design colleges between now, November, and January. And I've been sketching a lot and designing a lot, and I'm having some doubts or second thoughts about my sketches and my designs because I'm influenced by others. So what advice do you give to other seniors in high school that's applying that are doubting their work?
Oh, listen. The self-doubt aspect is one that I'm only too familiar with. In a manner of speaking, you have to let it go. I mean, you have a body of work. Keep developing it between now and when your applications are due. We said November? Okay. I think on the earlier end of things, November, you need to just freeze it right now and spread out your work and bring those critical analytical abilities to it and ask, what's my best work? And because you can keep creating that work from now until the next millennium. It can never stop. This is one of the hardest things in life. It's knowing when to let go. It's knowing when to edit. The book that I just wrote, the most difficult thing about it was not the year and a half of research, which I actually loved. It was winnowing it down from a huge amount of text to something that was manageable and readable for people. I mean, otherwise every chapter would have been an entire volume. Also, if there's someone with whom you interact and knows you, who's a truth teller, but also is supportive, use that person also as a gauge for putting together this portfolio. But you just don't overthink it. Operate in a Zen-like way in a manner of speaking, viscerally responding to what you've done. And don't be too hard on yourself. Okay? Does that help? I feel like you need a pep talk. All right? All right. I'm your cheerleader.
You could always come to a free Cooper Hewitt workshop and learn a couple of things there, too. Put your nerves at ease. So 2 more quick questions. We have one back there.
Hello, my name is Raquel, and
Where
I
are
go
you?
to
Oh, there
Brooklyn
you
High
are.
School of the Arts, right here.
Hi.
And I was wondering, how do you help, if you do help, high school students? Do you go to schools and visit them and give them pep talks, or no?
Do I personally?
Yes.
He's doing right now.
Yes, but I mean, like, actually go to the schools, like, in different boroughs and stuff, or do you just do this most often?
Well, I mean, for a number of years at Parsons, I mean, this is what I did. I mean, I was running the admissions department. I've been away from it for a long time, however. But, I mean, just in terms of mentoring individual students, I'd love to. There's nothing that makes me happier than working with young people. But I just don't have the time, to be perfectly honest.
We're
Thank
very
you.
lucky that he even makes it here.
Well,
so.
I carved
Keep
this into my
coming
calendar
every
months
year.
ago, yes. But thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I am a Parsons.
One last question. I'm trying to see a corner that I haven't hit. They're really, really tall with the hat.
There. Hi.
Well, my name's Supriano. Hey, everyone. I wanted to know, I wanted to know how was your Parsons life? Because I might apply there.
How was my Parsons life?
Yeah, how was it like there? Everybody's looking at me.
It was never dull. I wasn't a student there, though. I was a faculty member and an administrator. So I can't speak for the student experience. I can speak, as a teacher, I can speak about my students and say there were some who excelled and were successful, and there were others who crashed and burned. And the extenuating circumstances in the latter case of crashing and burning were always very, very different. But I don't write those negative scenarios. I write the positive ones and assume that when a student is accepted to a college, that the admissions committee feels that they know them well enough to know that they possess the potential to succeed. The one thing I will say about my teaching experiences at Parsons, and this would frequently disarm my students, is I would say to my students, you are not birds in a nest. I'm not coming in with little worms and feeding you. This experience is 70% on your shoulders, 7-0, and about 30% on mine. I made my students work their butts off, and it wasn't a lecture class where I was responsible for delivering all the material. I made them do the heavy lifting also. So we ended up having a good time together and learning a lot together and feeling very much like a family. It was also, though, a 6-hour class, so it was a long session every week. But have you visited Parsons? Oh, good. Excellent. But just collect as much information as you can about each school. Regrettably, we don't have crystal balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
We are all out of time, but with endless gratitude, I have to thank Mr. Tim Gunn,
Thank you.
our sponsors, Target, to
Design
all
Studio
the
Classic.
designers and college representatives, and to the teachers and the students who made it out tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you, designers.